right, it's good to see you all. My name is Aydin. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO here at Fellow. We're super excited to have you here for this very important milestone of launching Fellow plus AI. We love all of our product launch events. Today is a very special one. The technology landscape has changed, we think, forever, and AI is part of the discourse everywhere you go. And so what we wanted to do, and we take this responsibility very seriously, is we think meetings has one of the largest footprints of any type of activity within organizations. And so we see the opportunity to take AI and bring them into your meetings as a super serious one because it has such a large footprint that it can have a very meaningful effect on everyone's productivity across the board. And the way we like to look at it is Fellow has a number of value propositions, and for each and every one of those, we want to pinpoint that value prop and see how we can use AI to make it easier and faster for you to be able to get to that end benefit. Take something as simple as preparing for your meetings. Fellow helps you prepare for your meetings today, even prior to this launch event. But if we can use AI to make it faster and easier to prepare for your meetings using AI, then what that means is more people will prepare and more meetings will become effective. And that's really the lens that we're taking on this. We're going to take each and every one of those value props, infuse them with AI, and make your meetings that much more productive. So hopefully you'll get to see a glimpse of the future today. Today is the first of many launches that we're going to do in the area of AI, and the Fellow roadmap from now until as far as we can see it is always going to incorporate a lot of this type of functionality. So without further ado, let's dig right in and see the first of these features. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fellow plus AI Live.
Hello, how's it going?
Aydin, it's so exciting to be back and see everyone in the chat section saying hello. Hello from different parts of the world. It's so great to see you all again.
Yeah, hey everyone, good to see you all. Hello from, so many different cities. If you're in the chats, tell us what city you're dialing in from today. It's really good to see everyone. I can see a lot of excitement this time. I mean, people are always excited about our events, but I think this time in particular, I just see so much excitement, which is really awesome.
Yeah, well, I think that it's related to the name of the event. Today, it's Fellow plus AI Live. So Aydin, tell us a little bit about that AI part of the name.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in the world of tech today. Everybody's talking about AI. You know, we've been working on AI for a very long time in the world of tech, but really since the dawn of ChatGPT, and it's really become part of the mainstream. Everybody's talking about it. We're using it in all sorts of different contexts. Like no matter where you are in your company, you're probably starting to use AI in some way, shape, or form. And I think like the best products out there, they're bringing AI to their products. They're bringing it to that surface area. And the way that we think about meetings, I mean, meetings are possibly one of the largest surface areas in your company. And so we thought that it would make a lot of sense to make sure that we can bring that kind of AI functionality to everybody as well, all the Fellow users.
Yeah. And there are lots of you in the chat section who have provided your feedback, your thoughts. So thank you so much for being here today with us. We're so excited to show you these new features.
Yeah. And so with that said, I mean, we can maybe start to do that. You and I were just talking, many launches that we've done together. It's always been the two of us.
Yeah,
How do you feel about it?
I was wondering if we could invite someone else today, like it's getting a little repetitive, just the two of us in this call.
Yeah, make it a little exciting, bring someone new. It's a good suggestion. It's a good suggestion. And so there's so many people that work at Fellow these days. I mean, we should be able to find somebody that we could invite to these launch events. So
let's see who joins the call.
Yeah, let's see who we can get to join the call. But maybe in order to invite someone to the call, I should just start by sharing my screen. So one thing that you will notice is that right here at the top, we see something slightly different. This is our traditional talking points and action items and notepad, all the things that you know and love about Fellow, all right there. There is one additional thing, and it's got this beautiful color purple, very similar to your background, which has also got the Fellow purple, those little stars. You kind of notice those stars there. And it says record this meeting in beta. And so why don't we go ahead and press this button and see what happens when we do. It says meeting assistant joining meeting. And look at that.
Someone is joining our recording, and I hope the audience can see it right now. We have a fellow meeting assistant who joined our Zoom call.
Wow, look at that. And hopefully everybody can see it. I mean, I like the way the meeting assistant looks.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Love the sparkles, the purple sparkles next to the Fellow logo, indicating that it's powered by AI. And I know this meeting assistant has a few fun functionalities, Aydin. So what are they?
Yeah, there's a lot, but I just can't get over how good it looks. The sparkles, the purple, it matches your background, it matches the color here. I mean, when you think about all of these details, and of course, like the meeting assistant does a lot itself, and we're about to tell you about all those things, but it's just the work our design team does is just so incredible. Basically, it seems like it's recording what we're talking about. It's here, it's recording. That's what this seems to indicate, which is great. And, there's a lot that we can definitely talk about here. But since this is recording, maybe we should talk about some interesting things for it to record. So one of our favorite topics to talk about at Fellow, whenever we're doing a social event or something, is whether or not pineapples should go on pizza. So that we can get this on the record, what do you think?
I believe pineapple goes on pizza. I really like pineapple on pizza. What do you think?
No, I just can't do sweet things on pizza. I don't think pineapple on pizza goes, unfortunately.
People in the audience are probably thinking like, why are they talking about pineapple on pizza? You will see. You will see. It's very important. We're just, since the Fellow bot is here, we just decided to do that. But if you're watching, let us know in the chat, like yes or no to pineapple on pizza. So yeah, lots of good responses. I see some people disagree with my opinion there, which is fine. And a lot of people like what you think, your opinion there. And so, keep that discussion going. But while you do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this recording just to show you how this works. So I'm going to click on stop. It says stop and save. So it is recording our discussion here, or the portion thereof where we invited FellowBot. You can see as soon as we did that, FellowBot is now gone. Now, Fellow will by default wait. So you can see that the record button showed up again. So if we wanted it to come back again. So you can basically tell it to leave, you can tell it to come back. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press end meeting. So normally FellowBot will wait for the meeting to end, right? There's 47 minutes left in this meeting. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press end meeting now. And as soon as I did, look at what happened. Wow, that was fast.
That was really fast. Like that was quite fast. What is this? So you've seen FellowBot. Now, one of the first things that FellowBot does is what we're showing you, which is it provides a beautiful meeting summary. And so let's see what it says. It says discussion about the functionalities of the meeting assistant and debate on whether pineapples belong on pizza. Aydin introduces some of the assistant's key features. There you go. Like very accurate, very precise. If you were not part of this meeting, which again, if you're not going to participate in a meeting and you just want to know what's going on, you have this fear of missing out. Here's a way where you can keep up to date on what is going on in your meetings in the format of a summary, beautifully provided right there alongside your notes, alongside your talking points and action items, all in one place.
Imagine living on vacation for a week and then coming back and being able to read all the summaries from those meetings that you missed. I think this is a game-changing feature.
Yeah, it's exactly that. We want to save you time. We want to make sure that you spend only the right amount of time in meetings. We don't want you to spend too much time in meetings, and we want your meeting time to be effective. So let's talk about that scenario. You're on vacation, you come back, you're clicking on your various meetings on the left-hand side. And as you do that, you basically see, the meeting summary. And so you read this meeting summary and then you think, they're talking about this super hotly debated topic of pineapples belonging on pizza or not. And then you might get curious. You might get curious to think like, what did Manuela think?
Yeah.
How do we find out what she thought? And so
is that possible now? How to find out?
Yeah. So as you can see right here, there is this button called recording. And if I click on that, let's see what happens. And voila, this is your recording. It's your transcript and your summary all in one place. So you can see here, this is the same summary that we had. And if I click on this, what you'll be able to see is the recording that we have, which is amazing. This is the transcript of everything that we talked about, which is really, really cool. And you can search for things. So let's search for whenever we started talking about pineapple, and you can see here exactly what you said. And if you want proof that you said it, you can actually click on it.
Now there's proof.
Yeah, so there you go. And then if you wanted to take that proof and you wanted to put it in a Slack channel or something to demonstrate that to everybody else, what you could do is you could click on this copy link item. Now you have the link to the exact part of the meeting where something was discussed, and then you can send it right away.
That is very cool. So you could message me on Slack saying, hey, Manuela, I heard that you like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah, there you go. And then you might say, hey, you weren't here last week. How did you figure that out? And so these
I have a question about privacy, because I know some users have been asking about this. Who gets access to this transcript?
Yeah, so this transcript is only accessible to the people who have access to the meeting itself. So if you are on the meeting invite, just like regular Fellow permissions work, you can only see the things that you have access to, the meetings that you're already invited to, and you won't see anything else. And so these transcripts will work the same way. Similar with the video. If you get a link to the video, you can only see the video itself, even if you have the link, if you have access to the meeting. So the other thing I wanted to point out here is that one of the things I like to do, especially if I'm reviewing things after the fact, is change the playback speed. So I did want to also mention here that you can always go and you can watch things at 2x and essentially make sure that you can watch things at your own pace, especially if you're watching something after the fact. It's all about saving time. So if you want to watch something faster, you can definitely do that with this new playback video that we have here. You can download the entire thing. You can get a link to it. You can see the summary. And the important thing is all of this stuff is located in one place. Fellow becomes a holistic solution that includes all of these different things in that one location.
And as always, big shout out to our designers, our engineering team. This looks beautiful. It looks amazing. And it was so fast.
Yeah. And this is one of the things, I mean, as you know, for longtime viewers and users of the software, these are all things that we build in collaboration with our customers and our users. We're always talking to you. And so I think there's a few people that very specifically worked with us and gave us a bunch of suggestions and ideas, on this feature, right?
There is a long list of users who gave us ideas for the AI-powered features. But today I want to call out 5 people to give them a shout out. So thank you to Trina Burks from Arrive Logistics, Jackman from Dynatrace, Sarju from Beam Healthcare, Wahiha from Longboard Pharmaceuticals, and Ajit at Endpoint. Thank you all for your feedback and your thoughts on how we can improve our AI-powered features.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you to you all. We really appreciate all of your help in helping us build the future of Fellow. And so this is the first thing that we wanted to show you today. So we wanted to introduce the Fellow bot. We wanted to show you how the Fellow bot is going to automatically create a meeting summary for you to take a look at. You can access the recordings. You can watch them at double speed. You can see the transcripts, search through those, share the videos, and it makes it easy. So we like to think about, you don't just want to attend a meeting, you want to participate in the meeting as well. And if you're not going to participate in the meeting, then now you actually don't have to attend. You can just catch up on the meeting after the fact. And I think the Fellow AI meeting assistant does exactly that. So now that we've shown this, there's another feature that I'm very excited to show everybody. And that new feature, in order to show you what it looks like, I'm going to go to the next meeting that we have conveniently located right after this launch, which is our marketing project meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this meeting. And so as we go here, you see a really cool new interface at the top. And it's a prompt that tells us, how do you want to create your agenda? So you can see we have our traditional talking points and action items. And you can, of course, start typing there and it will remove this thing at the top, but it will also point out that you can start a meeting from a template, which, as you know, we have over 500 meeting templates, expert approved. We've done a lot of research to be able to bring the best of the best to you. But now we also wanted to introduce the opportunity for you to be able to use an AI generated agenda. So why don't I do that and show you what our AI generated agenda actually looks like. So I'm going to click on this right here, and you can see this is the content of the meeting that it's coming up with. And you can see that there are a few different ideas that it has here. And so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to use the text on the right. So what you'll notice is that there's an opportunity on the right for you to be able to, add or make changes to what Fellow will offer to you. So one of the things, for example, for the marketing project meeting, before I even go there, let's see some of the suggestions it has. So when I click on wins and celebrations, you'll see that it adds a wins and celebration section. I'm also going to add the areas for improvement over here. And so it'll add that topic. And for the team update, I'm just going to choose in this particular case not to add the team update. So what it does is not only does it add the headers, but you also have the option to see the talking points as well. So in this particular case, let's see some of the different talking points. Are there any of these that you would add to our marketing project meeting?
I love the second one. What wins have you experienced this month? Let's celebrate. Love starting a meeting with some good celebrations.
All right. So let's add that one. And is there another one that looks good to you?
I like giving shout outs in meetings. So maybe who stood out this quarter with notable achievements could be a good opportunity for people to share some shout outs.
Yeah, so that's good. So let's add that as well. And you can also see that if you wanted to, you could also reload the suggestion. So if you're looking through these topics, there's other options that you can see. You can basically add these all here. And then we can do the same for the areas for improvement section, right? So this seems like a good topic. I can add that one, and then I can go through here and basically, say add one of these. And so the idea here is that it's going to create both headers and talking points for you to be able to use. And whenever you're done, what you can do is you can click on the done button and all of this will go away. One thing I did want to point out, though, was you also have this new lightning icon here. And if you click on that, it'll just make sure that it requires each person in the meeting to also add to that section. Because as you know, we want people to be active participants in meetings. And so that's a way that you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and press done. And you can see that that information has now been removed. You saw that there was another suggestion that I didn't use. And so now that's removed from here. And this is what our AI generated agenda looks like.
Wow.
And of course, what I wanted to say is you can also make changes, right? So this is just a suggestion. And so, for example, instead of areas for improvement, maybe I just want to call this areas for advancement. Or what I want to do is maybe add another talking point. So you can basically continue to make changes through this throughout the time. And the AI suggestions are just something that you can basically start with. Amazing.
So if you wanted to add another section like action items, for example, you could, right?
Yeah. So what you can do is, what I can do is I can add a section heading and I'll call it action items. And then underneath, as you know, the brackets, open bracket, close bracket is going to make it easy for you to add an action item there. So absolutely, you can continue to make changes for it. And at any point in time, you can use the AI suggested options as well.
What I love the most about this feature, Aydin, is that every meeting host will look like a superstar because all their meetings are going to be populated with very thoughtful talking points and agendas. And it's almost like Fellow becomes your super smart meeting assistant, right? That helps you craft this. So very powerful feature here.
Yeah. And this is a really important one, right? So Fellow has always given you the opportunity to prepare for your meetings using meeting agendas and talking points in advance. This is something that you've always been able to do with Fellow. The thing that we wanted to recognize is that it still requires work, right? You still have to prepare for your meetings. And if we could use AI to make it a little easier to prepare, maybe more people will prepare. And if more people prepare, more meetings will be effective. And this is the way that we want to think about this, is we want to make sure that every meeting starts with an agenda. And with the use of AI, we're making it ever easier with the use of the templates that we have, the AI suggested topics and headers. We make it easier than ever for you to prepare for your meetings. I think one of the ways that we'd like to use AI is to take all the value props that Fellow already offers and make them easier, to democratize them and get more people to be able to get value from all of those features.
I love that. And I think you were going to show us what happens if you want to suggest a different description, like a meeting description.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Good point for calling that out. So, maybe in order to do that, what I will do is let's start from creating a brand new meeting. And I can kind of show you what it would look like if you wanted to tweak this a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press new, and then let's create a meeting right underneath. And then what should we call this meeting?
A brainstorming meeting, perhaps. And for all of you watching this video, this is a quick reminder that you can create events right in Fellow.
Yeah, it's really nice. I don't have to leave Fellow to do this, which is really, really cool. Obviously works in connection with whatever calendar you're already using. So there you have it. So this is the meeting that we just created, brainstorming meeting. And as you can see, I have the ability to use the AI generated agenda in the same way. And so when I click on it, it's basically going to start to suggest some of these items, which is great. And because it's a brainstorming meeting, you can see that it tunes some of the things that it suggests based on that. So we wrote this description earlier, which is the purpose of this project meeting is to kick off a new initiative to encourage fellow users to tell others about the product. We would say also like to talk about our brand new referral program. Right. So whatever you want to mention in the actual meeting. So in other words, if the suggestions don't come in very specific to what you're looking for, remember, we're trying to take as much context as we can. But for example, if your meeting title is called test meeting, it's really hard for us to, know exactly what the suggestion should be about. That's why the settings on the right are really going to help. So in this particular case, I'm going to click on casual as the tone. I'm going to press regenerate. And so now it's going to take into account all of the information that we have here to regenerate the meeting agenda suggestions, based on what was there. You can see this is a lot more specific now. So obviously this is a new initiative. I'm going to add that. We're going to also talk about the referral program. And, it's always good to celebrate wins, and then action items and next steps are always good as well. So actually pretty accurate. I want to say that definitely really helped. And so let's see, that's a really good item. And maybe to make sharing our product more fun and engaging for users, like that's pretty good. Using social media to promote the new initiative. I mean, these are actually like pretty good suggestions, I would say.
Pretty accurate. And a good reminder to tell people watching this that if you post on social right now using the hashtag FellowAILive, there's a giveaway going around for our swag store. So that is one of the giveaways happening today.
Yeah, that's actually a perfectly timed, mention of that. So
our marketing team will be thankful that I mentioned this. So don't forget to post about this launch event on social media. We would love to see your highlights.
And should people use some sort of a hashtag or something like that? How do we know to find them?
Hashtag FellowAILive. You'll get more information.
Hashtag FellowAILive. Very cool. So I did want to also mention just around this topic of generating these agendas. If you go to use AI, if you click on the triple dot menu here, so a lot of this information will show up for new meetings, but if you have a meeting that's been occurring for a long period of time, if you click on more actions at the top right, this kebab menu, you can always click on use AI generated agenda. And then it will basically give you the same interface, and it will go through and give you the suggestions as well. So you can always access that in that way.
Cool. Aydin, I want to say, you told me before we started recording that there's a big feature coming right before the Q&A, right? So
yes.
People should stay tuned for that.
Yeah. There's going to be big features all throughout. So we've talked so far about the meeting assistant, and we've shown how that can be used, but we've also now talked about the AI generated agendas, what we're calling our AI agenda builder. The other thing I wanted to show you is suggested topics. So one of the things that has always been very important, and what I'm going to do, Manuela, is I'm going to go to our one-on-one that we have. Of course, this is a test site that we've created. And so what I want to do is I want to create a brand new note so that we can see how this works. And so I'm not going to carry over the talking points, but what I want is I want some suggestions around topics that you and I could discuss. So we know how to build an agenda from scratch using the AI agenda builder, which is really cool, what we just saw. But sometimes you just want suggested talking points, right? You're going into a meeting and you want a handful of suggested talking points that you could discuss. And so what you'll notice on the right, we've always had the ability for, especially for one-on-one meetings, to have suggested topics. We've had a large list of topics that you can choose from. So that's always been there. But now we also have AI generated suggested topics. So at any point in time, if you want, you can on the right, click on generate topics. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a look at all of the things that you've discussed in the past. And based on that, based on who you are, what your title is, what my title is, and all the information that we have around the meeting, it will suggest as many useful things as it can on topics that you should discuss.
Wow. And Fellow almost becomes like, the person who reads your meeting notes before the meeting, tells you what you should follow up on, and suggests those items. I love that.
Yeah. And this is really good too. I mean, this is, again, based on the agenda that we were just building. You can see if I scroll down, this is what we talked about last time, for example, and the topics are super relevant, right? Review outcomes of incentivizing fellow users to refer others to our product. What worked, what didn't. Like, that's super relevant. We were just talking about that in our last meeting, right? And so maybe I'll add that one, and challenges faced by Manuela in implementing these initiatives and finding solutions.
It even says my name. I'm impressed.
Yeah, this is really, really good stuff. Basically, we want to make it so that you never walk into a meeting unprepared. And you just think about how it raises the level for everybody, right? No matter what meeting you attend, you always bring your A game, and it's because Fellow has your back. Fellow's going to give you the suggested topics. It's going to help you build those agendas using the agenda builder. You're just never going to be unprepared going into a meeting. It's going to be easier than ever for you to catch up on stuff from before, review previous meeting summaries, see everything in one place. I mean, like you said, it's really starting to become like your chief of staff that's always there helping you with all of your meetings.
Mm-hmm. And just imagine what that can do on an org-wide level, right? If everyone in a company prepares for their meetings, if everyone is creating agendas, I think that the meeting culture in your entire organization can become so much better.
Yeah, so super exciting stuff that we went through. So we talked about the AI generated agendas. We talked about AI generated suggested topics. There is one more thing that I want to mention before we go on to our other major announcement. And the two things, one is that a lot of our users are using the Microsoft ecosystem. And one of the feature requests that we've been getting for a long period of time is, what about Microsoft To-Do integration? And so this is something that has been asked for a long period of time. And so if you're on the Microsoft ecosystem and you use Microsoft To-Do, you can now integrate Fellow with Microsoft To-Do. And it's really nice. The way that it works is just like any of our other integrations. So if you have an action item at any point in time, what you can do is you can click on the triple dot menu, and you can basically add that or sync that to whatever other system you're using. You can see that Jira is here. That's because we use Jira internally. And so this basically tracks and will sync to there. But you can browse our other integrations. And we have so many: ClickUp, Asana, Monday, like so many different integrations. Linear. Yeah. And now we have Microsoft To-Do. And so that's another integration. Wanted to give a quick mention to that. And one more quick mention before we go on to the other major announcement that we have, which is, I also wanted to say one of the other features that our users have always been requesting from us is they've been wanting to know how they can get more control over their calendar. So by default, Fellow will, connect to your calendar, Microsoft, Google, whatever calendar you're using, will pull in all the information and it works great. And you can add multiple calendars. If you have 10 calendars, you can add 10 calendars. But sometimes people want a little bit more flexibility. And so now, if you click on the triple dot menu at the top, what you'll notice as I hover over it, you see this thing that says meeting filters. So when I click on this, what you'll see is a bunch of different options. And so you can decide if you want to show a few different things. If you don't want to see your all day events, if you have personal events, you're going to chiropractor, you don't want those included, your out of office stuff, your focus time. If you don't want those things, they don't have to be displayed in Fellow. And my personal favorite, which is a new feature that we've also added, is the option to add specific keyword filters. So let me click on this and you can see exactly what I mean. Okay, so what keywords should we try?
Well, we get a lot of feedback from users saying that they block events in their calendar for deep work. So that is one idea for people watching this. Maybe you could filter out deep work calendar events. But for the purposes of this demo, maybe we could try the weekly town hall. What if we try filtering that out?
Yeah, definitely. So, I'll just use the word town, and you can see that once I do that, it starts to make changes to my calendar. You can see that it's now filtered out all of the town hall events. And so there you have it. You now have the ability to filter the calendar events, another level of customizability. Again, the way you can get that is through the triple dot menu. Lots of options there, but we want to make sure to give you full control over what you can see inside of Fellow.
Yeah, it's just amazing to see how our product team listens to what our users really want to see in Fellow. So thank you. Thank you to those of you who suggested this.
Yeah. Now it's time for one more thing that we want to show you. And it's going to be
one more thing.
Yeah. And it's going to be, I think, a game changer. One of the things that we've heard loud and clear from all of our users and our customers everywhere is, Fellow definitely helps you have more effective meetings. But one of the things that also really matters to us is we want to make sure that you spend less time in meetings. It's about spending less time in meetings and spending meeting time effectively, right? And so the way that we've started to think about this is for a lot of our customers, they've had meeting guidelines in place. They've had the ability to, create guidelines for themselves internally of here's how we run meetings at our company. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a way for you to be able to create meeting guidelines. And if you're using Fellow across your organization, make sure that people follow those guidelines for all of their meetings. And so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I think maybe a really good way is if we can just jump in so I can show you our new feature that we're calling meeting guidelines. So what I want to show you now is I'm going to try and record or create a new meeting. And this is my calendar. And as you can see, this is a test account. So my calendar usually has more meetings than this. But let's say that I get this bright idea randomly in the middle of the day that I would like to invite you to a meeting. And so what I will do is I will do what I normally do, which is go to Google Calendar. And so I select a meeting. And as soon as it pops up, you'll notice this special blue bubble here, which says, find another time for this meeting. And the reason is I was about to book this meeting with you without much notice. And you'll notice that it says meetings at Fellow must be booked more than 4 hours in advance. And so why is that? Why do we want people?
So we're basically teaching you meeting best practices by telling you, hey, you shouldn't be booking a meeting with someone so randomly in the middle of the day because you'll probably interrupt their work day. And I think that it's really important to give people time in advance, right? To prepare the agenda, to think about what they're going to say in the meeting. It just makes meetings more efficient and more productive. So it's wonderful to see that this feature reminds people of that.
Yeah. And so this is one example. The other thing that you'll notice right here is, so at Fellow, we like to have shorter meetings that we call speedy meetings. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. But at Fellow, what we like to do is we like to start meetings 5 minutes or 10 minutes past the hour. And so you'll notice that there is this button here. And when I click on it, It's going to change your meeting time from, I had put it at 2:30, it changes it to 2:35, and it makes it really easy for us to do that. So, and then of course, like say that I want to add you to my meeting, I'm going to type your name. And as I do that, what you're going to see is it puts a little blue bubble next to your name, and it says that you already have more than 21 hours of meetings next week, so that maybe I should be considerate. And instead of inviting you, since the Fellow bot can now join our meetings and send you the summary afterwards, I'm just going to mark you as optional. And as soon as I do, you'll notice that that blue bubble goes away. And so this is just a glimpse of what meeting guidelines can look like. Basically, our mission is to make sure that across the organization, you can have meeting guidelines in effect. We can make sure that your meetings have less people in them. You can have shorter meetings. We can make sure that they're organized properly. They require an agenda in advance. All the different things that you would think about in terms of having a really healthy meeting culture, Fellow can now help you implement those things as well.
That is amazing, Aydin. So tell us more about meeting guidelines. Is this a feature available to everyone right now, or is there a way to
so this is a feature that is available for our enterprise customers. So if you're thinking about using Fellow across the organization, as you know, we work with a lot of small companies, but also a lot of very large companies. One of our customers, Shopify, made a lot of noise earlier this year as they were taking their meeting culture very, very seriously, and were being very specific about it. And so a lot of our customers are thinking in these lines. They're thinking about, how can we create great meeting culture, great meeting habits across our company? And yes, Fellow makes sure that your meetings are effective when they happen, but a lot of it also depends on for you having a great meeting culture and organizing those meetings. And so meeting guidelines is one of the ways that we are helping for that to happen. And if this is something that you're interested in, if you want to think about using Fellow across your organization to do that, make sure to contact us. This is one of those things that we work with you, and you will have custom guidelines that you will think about. So things like, well, maybe we want to have a no meeting day, or we want to have a meeting light day, or we might have different sorts of ideas around that. And typically what people do is they create these things, but then they're really hard to enforce. So it goes in a wiki somewhere, and it's not really looked at. But with meeting guidelines, you can now make sure that you have those guidelines, everybody's educated on them, but also you can make sure that people actually follow those things as well. And so the results have been really, really great, helping people spend less time in meetings, making sure that the time that they do spend is extra effective. And so all in all, I think it's a really, really big feature launch for us.
And if you're wondering how to contact us, there is a bubble at the bottom of Fellow, at the bottom right there, where you can message our support team, our amazing support team, who always gets so much love from our users for being so kind and great. So thank you to them as well. And Aydin, we actually have a resource that we want to give away. So because you're attending this launch event, you get to read our internal meeting guidelines. So we published a resource called Meeting Guidelines for High-Performing Organizations. The URL is right there. It's Fellow.app/resources/meeting guidelines. And you can read our meeting guidelines, what we do at Fellow and how we like to run our meetings internally.
Yeah. And so, well, obviously, including that right here in the chat for everybody to be able to check out. And yeah, I mean, of course, we always have hundreds of small changes that we've made throughout, but we're trying to show you some of the major things during these launch events. So let's just do a quick recap.
Yes, and I will say, don't leave, because Aydin will be doing a live Q&A right after this. So Aydin, you'll be answering any questions, right, that people have about.
Yeah, 100%. So I know people have questions. There's a lot to talk about. So I'm going to stick around and let's do a live Q&A. But today, what we did is we started with showing you the Fellow AI Meeting Assistant. If you're feeling lonely in those meetings and you want an extra helping hand that's going to come in there, take notes, summarize the meetings, and have everything there for you to be able to access, you can invite the Fellow AI Meeting Assistant to your meetings. It's super easy for it to join, and it's going to really start to act as a chief of staff for everybody to be able to have extra effective meetings. And so this is the beginning of what the Fellow AI meeting assistant can do. And there's a lot more things coming, but this is what we're launching with right away. And the next thing is the AI generated agendas. What did you think of that?
One of my favorite features, Aydin, just being able to generate an agenda before a meeting and get those ideas for headings and talking points. That was an amazing way to save people time, as well as the AI generated suggested topics, right? I was very impressed at how Fellow knew what we talked about in our previous one-on-one, and it then suggested things that you should follow up on. So I was very impressed with that.
Yeah. And of course, like the last few things, if you use Microsoft To Do, you saw the event filtering that we now have for your calendar, extra control. And of course, the thing that we're very excited about, we're working with organizations that want to make changes across their company and implement healthy meeting guidelines. It's one of the things that, if you don't take care of stuff like this, different people will join your company. They'll bring their meeting habits from other companies. And before you know it, everybody's doing things differently. I think it's time for people to agree on how meetings should be run at their company. And meeting guidelines is one of the ways that that's going to happen. I know that there is a question around who's going to have access to these AI features. And we do have a wait list. We are slowly rolling these out. However, you do have a way for people to go to the top of the wait list, right?
Yes. So stay tuned and keep an eye on the follow-up email after this event, because we will share a special way for you to move up the wait list. It has to do with telling your friends that you love Fellow.
Yeah. And of course, in the meantime, while you wait for that email, if you also want to tweet about us, we definitely, appreciate, like, if you're excited about the launch, excited to have access to these features, tweet about it, post about it on LinkedIn, and all those things also help you go on top of the wait list, and we'll be monitoring those things. But with that said, I think it's time for a Q&A.
Yes, we have 2 action items there in the note. So join the AI waitlist and join the live Q&A. Let's go to the Q&A now.